Hey, Al fans. In the rain in New Jersey, while it's pouring outside where I am, year two, week three, holy shit, the rain's getting on my phone. I may have to do an abbreviated version or go under my hood. The weekly Al report. Last week, if I recall, I said I would be happy with a 1-1-1, get the hell out and get some home cooking. Somehow we were 2-1, and don't ask me how. Don't even ask me how. We got outplayed in every game. Well, I'll give you the reason how, but we got outplayed in every game, including Columbus. Don't let that score deceive you. We got pretty much shellacked the second and third period against the Bruins. And I could have sworn St. Louis was on a 40-minute power play last night. So I'll take the 4 points, but I want to focus on three themes today. Number one, what's been improved from last year? Number two, what needs to be improved? And number three, you have to get your points early. You have to. What's been improved? Do you realize last year we didn't have a backup goaltender? Do you realize last year Chad Johnson and Neuwirth were about 9-13? And because Halak is not a Lundqvist or a Price or a Schneider, that he can go 72 games, Halak is fragile. He can only go like 58 games. So far, Greiss has only played the Hawks twice. He beat Winnipeg. He beat Nashville. He beat San Jose. And he beat the Blues. Those were all losses last year. So that's a positive. Positive number two. And if it stays like this, then if we can correct the negative, we could be dangerous. Positive number two. Let me rub the rain. Okay. Do you realize last year we were 29th in the league? I did 3 videos on this, and I killed Cronin. We were 29th on the PK. There was a game I went to with Jennifer, the infamous Oposo 4-goal game. Pittsburgh had 2 power plays in the first 6 minutes, and I turned to my wife for a little popcorn, and Pittsburgh scored. And then they had a power play. They scored again. They got 2 goals in 40 seconds combined. And what a bad PK does when you're playing well forces you to have to even play better. And what a good PK does, do you realize the Isles are 3rd in the NHL in the penalty kill? And here's what a good PK does. It makes a shit effort like the Isles have done this week. It allows you to stay in the game. So imagine if you can combine both, the effort and the penalty kill. Columbus 0 for 6, St. Louis 0 for 4. I don't even know if Boston scored. They were number 1 in the league. And I don't think they scored. And if they did, so what? That's a great week. So our penalty kill, which is so big, okay, is 3rd in the NHL. I thought it was a misprint, but we haven't given up that many goals. That's the only reason we're stealing games. And last year when we were superior, we struggled and put ourselves in the hole because, like as I said, that game, the Oposo game, they scored 2 goals before I grabbed 1 kernel of popcorn. So we have to keep that going. What's our Achilles heel? I know people are going to laugh. My son, Daryl, they've heard this for 2 years now. I made a miscalculation. When Lubo left, I automatically assumed that Mayfield and Pulock would be the replacement. Like every team has kid defensemen coming in. They're both 220. They're both big. Mayfield impressed, and Pulock's got the cannon. And I thought DeHaan would get over his sophomore jinx. Well, here's our challenge. DeHaan has been miserable. That was one of the worst hockey games I've seen a defenseman play the other night against Boston. And Pulock and Mayfield did not impress in camp to the point that Snow had to go out and get Zidlicki. What do you think Snow got Zidlicki? Because there's a reason someone doesn't play. The reason is you're not good enough. My old football coach told me that. Guys who are complaining that are on the bench, they're not playing because they can't be first string. Well, if Pulock and Mayfield were that good today, they're going to be good players. They would be in there. So what do we actually have right now? We have 3 defensemen, Leddy, Boychuk, and Hammer. And our other 3 are 5, 6. You can make a case they're 6s and 7s. I'll give Hickey his due. He's undersized, but he plays harder than anyone. But he's really a 5'6" at max. He wouldn't be on my team if I had all the guys up. But Straight, Zidlicki, and Dahan are no more than 6s. And as one guy wrote to me, Hickey and Straight and Zidlicki are 7s. So we do not have the defense that I imagined this year. I thought Snow was going to make a move in the offseason to get that fourth defenseman, or we were so giddy over Mayfield's performance, we figured plug him in over Lubo, and there we go. So that's a huge concern. We will not advance with this defense. We will not advance. We might make the playoffs, but we're not going to get past the first round when you have 3 number 6s, when you're supposed to have a top 4, and then you could play around with your 5-6. Look at the Hawks. They didn't even have a 5-6, but they had a Hall of Fame in Duncan Keith and an all-star in Seabrook, so we're not at that level. But my point is, if you have a top 4, you can compete. Finally, this is absolute hogwash when I hear, oh, the Owls can go on a hot streak later. I took a look at the standings today, and last year everybody stunk in the East. There was a clear-cut favorite. It was Washington, the Rangers, the Owls, and Pittsburgh. But it's fortunate that Columbus is off to a good start. My neighbors here, the Devils, won 4 straight. The Flyers beat the Rags last night. They're up there. So there's no room for the weary. Anybody who says, oh, yeah, we could take it off to January, that's bullshit. Right now, everybody's clumped together. And now one of the reasons that that's happening, by the way, is we've all played Western teams, so we can't knock each other off. So right now, the fun begins. We start playing each other. So unless if that lousy 3-point game, which kills me, you're going to see the Rangers play the Devils like they have. You're going to see us play Pittsburgh. You're going to see us play, well, we played Boston the other night. You're going to start seeing interconference and interdivisional games. And starting this week, there's no such thing as a soft schedule, but I used to think it was soft. We have a Calgary team that's struggling, and we play in my backyard. We play the Devs Saturday, and that used to be a guaranteed 2. Not anymore. Not anymore. So we have 3 games this week. Again, I'm always happy when you get 4 out of 6 points. 1-1-1s or less than 3 are not good with this competitive division. So that's it in a nutshell. Keep the PK going. Good backup goaltending. Let Snow figure out what has to be done with that defense, because it's not going to get us to the promised land. It's just not. And finally, keep on getting points now, because no sense in waiting, because you could be playing catch-up baseball the whole time. So right now we're just centered right in the middle. We're like 3rd or 4th. I know the Rangers have a game in hand or 2, but I'm not getting into game in hands now. This is a very tight Eastern Conference. So until next Sunday, let's see if we can get 4 more points minimum. Let's go Isles.